So after a while, you think you know everything there is to know about driving. You've had that license for a while, and what else do you need, right? Well, you could be doing it wrong. Ashley Kirkland back live with a driving instructor to tell us more about some common driving practices and missteps. Ashley?
Well, good morning, Vicki. It's never too late to brush up on the rules of the road, no matter how long you've been driving. And I'm here inside the TV6 car. We are with Jeff Burby of All-Star Driving Academy.
That's
and
correct.
He's an instructor, but you are also a student in a sense, Jeff.
Yes, I am. I decided to pick up the industry of being a driver's education and that, and I've been real pleased with it.
Yeah.
It's been enlightening for me.
Yeah, you said that this is kind of fresh your knowledge of the road.
That's correct. I've always prided myself on being a good driver, and my is that, but being in driver's education, it re-educated myself to look at being a little bit more cautious when I drive, not quite so aggressive as I used to be.
Yeah, and you say that's one of the primary things that you teach the students is about defensive driving. Talk to us about that.
That's correct. The number one goal in driver's education is to teach our students how to be a good defensive driver. And there's many rules of the roads that they can follow in that, but if you do a defensive driving and anticipate what other people are doing, it reduces accidents considerably.
Okay, so we're just in a parking lot right now, and you are going to take the mic over and help me with some of the techniques that you teach. First one, which I was surprised to know, they told me in the newsroom, we don't do 10 and 2 anymore. I'll let you take the mic. Tell me where to put my hands on the steering wheel.
Certainly. Yeah, the new rules nowadays is 8 and 4 is the position they'd like you to do it, or even 9 and 3. Okay. And the reason they do that is when the airbag, if it ever has to deploy, can possibly break your arms when you're driving. So when your arms are lower on the steering wheel, that allows you to have the safety of the airbag not hitting your arms.
Okay, so next we're going to put the car in drive, and you say there's even a different way that you're teaching kids how to turn the wheel.
That is correct. They have a new technique called push and pull. Instead of going hand over hand like I've been trained for many, many years, you do push and pull. You put your hands in a position of 8 and 4, and then when you do, you push your one hand up and you grab it from the top at 12 o'clock. Now, I'm not the best at it myself yet. I've been working more at it as part of my class, but it's a challenge for me to use. But it's the new way to steer a car. That's what they're teaching the kids today.
Okay, I think I may have failed that one. And so also we had some questions that we formulated. The guys back there, they took a test. What about when we come to a four-way stop? We're at a stop sign. We've got a person in front of us, 2 on the side. Who goes first? What are the rules of the game?
That's always a challenging question people ask. The rule is the first one there is the one that gets to go first. However, once in a while when you get to the intersection, you'll find that you get there at the same time as the other person does. The rule then is the person to the right gets the right of way. Okay.
And so we talked about, okay, which way is it going to go? Counterclockwise, who's to the right, or clockwise? How do we know who's to the right? You know, because someone always has someone to the right of them.
It would be counterclockwise.
Okay. Okay, and so next we're talking about when we get to that intersection, we're driving up, and I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm in a parking lot, like I said. So we're driving up, and we get there, we see a car coming, and we're halfway already in the intersection. Who has the right of way?
If you're turning left and you get to the intersection and a person's coming straight, even though you're halfway into the intersection, partway in the intersection, that person still would have the right of way because they are going straight. Okay. Now, when you get to intersections, there's several spots that you can stop. Many intersections have a thick white line that goes across. You're supposed to stop there. If there is not a thick white line, the next spot you stop is where the sidewalk would go across if you're in the city. If you're out in the country where I live, there are no sidewalks and there are no white lines. Then there's an imaginary line you draw from when you go around the corner. If you were to take a line that goes straight across, that would be where you would stop your car.
Okay. Now, you say lastly that driving is really all about courtesy. You teach courtesy on the road. What do you do when people aren't so courteous?
Well, road rage is one of the things that we talk about quite a bit in our class also. And it's very easy to get angry. I know we've all done that before. Many times it's because when I was probably being aggressive when I was driving. Take a few extra minutes when you drive. Give yourself 5 extra minutes or 10 extra minutes before you leave and try not to do the aggressive thing. what we were taught to do is count to 10, just like you do at home, and also just drop it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people that might do something might not have seen you there, and they just did it totally by accident.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jeff. We're going to be back. We're going to be talking about distracted driving, the increased rates of things that you have going on in the car, how that increases your rate for an accident. Also, we're going to be talking about the rules of parallel parking, and I'm going to try to parallel park, so help me, Lord. I'll take it back to you, Vicki. Ashley Kirkland reporting live in Marquette Township, TV6 News.
He can't help you, Ashley. You just need
license
to.
you got at 16 is probably collecting a little dust at this point, so naturally you think you're a good driver. You might be wrong. This morning we want to highlight some common driving practices that you're probably doing wrong. Ashley Kirkland is back live with more for a lesson this morning. Ashley?
Good morning, Sam. Not only may you be wrong in your driving, but you may be unsafe. We've been using cars for quite some time now, but this is a vehicle that should be used with careful caution. And I'm back here with driving instructor Jeff Burby. Jeff, thanks so much. Now, you were saying distracted driving, that the percentage can go up tremendously depending on certain things that we do in our cars and people that we have in it. Talk to us about distracted driving.
Okay, well, that's become a big issue, and it's been one of our better topics in our instructional classes. For instance, if you buckle your seat while you're driving, or use a cell phone or a hands-free device, do any kind of text message, or even looking at your GPS unit, is something that distracts you. When you're talking on a cell phone or even listening to a radio, it takes 40% of your mental capacity for driving away.
Yeah.
So now you're putting yourself a little bit higher risk.
And for teenagers, depending on how many people are in the car with them, that also puts them at higher risk.
That's correct, especially with teenagers. It's been proven if you have one teenager in a car with somebody else, with the other driver, and then they're young, it adds about 50% higher possibility. If you put 3 people in the car, it's almost 150% higher risk for teenagers when they have that many people in the car.
Yeah.
So we try to encourage them to be careful when they pick out their friends and how many people are in the car with them.
Now, does the person in the back seat have to wear a seatbelt?
If you're under 16 years old, yes, you have to wear a seatbelt no matter where you are in the car. If you're a child, they are required to have a booster seat until they're 4'9", and then if they weigh roughly around 50 pounds or less, they're supposed to be inside of a car seat.
Now let's talk about parallel parking here for a second. Okay, this is one of the things, it's more of a courtesy thing. When you're parallel parking, and I'm going to start, you're going to walk me through it. Do you look in the mirror or do you look out the window? I always saw my dad kind of do one of these, and I'm like, is he just trying to show off? Was that the correct way to do it?
That's the correct way to do it. You put your arm over the seat, and then you take a look over your shoulder.
Do you put it in reverse first?
Well, what you do is when you get up to the spot, you're supposed to put your car, you park it so that the back end of your back window is at the end of the back of that car.
Okay.
You're trying to park behind. Then you turn your wheels all the way to the right, because you're going into the right, yes. And then you start going back.
Okay.
You go on a 45-degree angle, so go on back.
And I look in the window.
You're looking through the window, yes, that's correct. And you look out for your blind spot. Now once you're 45, now straighten your wheel for just a second.
Now,
Start
do you
backing.
stop and straighten the wheel, or do you straighten the wheel while you're driving?
While you're driving, and then once you get clear of the car, you straighten it out. Well, you're doing a great job, by the way.
Oh, yay.
And once you get to the spot, you're fine. Many of the drivers will not always get it correct the first time, so it's okay to go back and forth a little bit to get it done right.
Okay, and how far away should you be from the curb when you're parallel parking?
You should be less than 12 inches away from the curb.
And how do you kind of measure? I've heard that you measure it by the spot, if you can get in it by your car. How do you do that?
It's one of those things you just got to do by eyesight. You got to kind of eyeball it, and if you think your car will fit in there, you can do that. Be careful when it's a busy day. If you're downtown in Washington Street in Marquette and you're trying to get into one of those parallel parking and you look behind you, there's 5 cars behind you waiting, and there's another car at the stoplight waiting to get through the stoplight. You may want to go around the block and try again. That parking spot's important.
Well, that's the question that I had, is because I'm going to get me a good parking spot, and I'm like, the people behind me are just waiting, and so I'm always like, go around me. But are they supposed to wait? Is that the rule?
The rule is they're supposed to wait.
Oh.
I'm sure not everybody does that, but the rule is you should wait.
Okay.
So if you don't want to be pressured and that spot isn't that important, you may want to go around the block and find a different spot.
And lastly, we talk about school buses. How far behind a school bus should you be? And also, when should you stop for when a school bus is stopping?
Okay, well, you're supposed to stop on a school bus when the flashing lights are red.
Okay.
And that's when you come to a stop, and you're supposed to be stopping within 20 or no more than 20 feet away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. Such great tips to help us be better defensive drivers, not aggressive drivers. Make sure to watch that road rage. Also, stick around for more of your TV6 morning news.